Just two young brothers were quietly building something in a small apartment. They weren't Wall Street insiders. They weren't Silicon Valley veterans. They were broke students.
Most billion-dollar companies don't start in boardrooms. They start in bedrooms. In 2009, while the world was still recovering from the global financial crisis, two young brothers were writing code in small student apartments. Not to get rich, but to fix a problem nobody else wanted to touch. Banks were powerful, payments were broken, and the internet was growing faster than money could move through it. One of those students was Patrick Collison. No financial empire behind him, no Silicon Valley status, no investors waiting. Just a simple frustration. Why is it easier to build a website than to get paid on the internet? That question quietly became Stripe, a company that would later be valued in the tens of billions in power payments for the modern economy. Patrick didn't chase wealth. He designed a system that forces money to work. And that's what you're about to see. Patrick Collison grew up in Ireland, obsessed with computers long before business entered his mind. By age 16 in 2004, he had already won national programming competitions. By 2007, he had built his first startup. But it wasn't until 2009, when Patrick moved between Ireland and the United States for school and work, that he noticed something strange. Startups could launch products in days, but accepting payments took months. Banks required contracts. Payment gateways were outdated. APIs were hostile to developers. While other students focused on lectures, Patrick focused on friction. Together with his younger brother, John Collison, he started asking a different question. Why isn't money programmable? Why can't a few lines of code move value as easily as text moves online? So in 2010, they began building a simple payment system for developers. Not a flashy app, but financial plumbing for the internet. In 2011, Stripe officially launched, and instead of selling features, they sold something far more powerful: access to money itself. That decision transformed a student experiment into a financial engine. Most companies sell features. Stripe sold access to money. Instead of charging once, Stripe charged per transaction. Every time a business made money, Stripe quietly made money too. That's powerful. No chasing customers, no seasonal spikes, just recurring revenue tied to global commerce itself. Stripe focused on three things: developer simplicity, reliability, and pricing power through infrastructure. The easier Stripe made payments, the harder it became to replace Stripe. Every new business integrated deeper. Every integration increased switching costs. Stripe wasn't selling software. It was embedding itself into the financial bloodstream of the internet. And that's how small student code turns into a cash engine. Once adoption started, Stripe didn't scale chaos. It scaled systems. Instead of hiring huge sales teams, they scaled developer adoption. Instead of marketing hype, they focused on documentation. Stripe's goal was simple: if developers love you, businesses follow. So onboarding became frictionless. APIs became predictable, and reliability became sacred. Stripe optimized not for popularity, but for retention and lifetime value. Each new startup added volume. Each volume added margin. Each margin increased valuation. Competitors chased enterprise contracts. Stripe quietly captured the next generation of the internet. That's how growth becomes compounding. As Stripe grew, investors noticed. Silicon Valley wanted in, but Patrick Collison didn't raise money to look impressive. He raised money to strengthen leverage. Stripe avoided burning cash. They focused on high gross margins, capital efficiency, infrastructure advantage. Most startups raised to survive. Stripe raised to dominate. They reinvested into reliability, global expansion, fraud prevention, and compliance. Each dollar reduced risk. Each system increased pricing power. That's why Stripe didn't feel like a startup anymore. It felt like financial infrastructure. And infrastructure attracts serious capital. Every billion-dollar company survives on a moat. Stripe's moat wasn't branding, it was deep integration. Once a company builds on Stripe, everything connects. Payments, subscriptions, invoices, tax, fraud, global compliance. Leaving Stripe means rebuilding your entire money stack. That's expensive. So Stripe didn't trap users. It made itself essential. That's how predictability forms. And predictability is what investors price highest. Stripe wasn't competing on features. It was competing on financial architecture.
2015, 2016.
As Stripe grew, temptation arrived. New markets, banking products, crypto rails, enterprise deals, growth always looks attractive. But Patrick understood something rare. Not all growth strengthens the core. Some growth weakens margins. Some growth increases complexity. So Stripe didn't chase volume blindly. It protected unit economics. If expansion hurt reliability or pricing power, it slowed. Because fast money can destroy slow systems. Stripe chose boring discipline over exciting risk. And boring discipline builds permanent companies. Patrick Collison never built Stripe for lifestyle. He built it for architecture. Money inside Stripe wasn't profit. It was leverage. Revenue didn't buy yachts. It bought infrastructure, security, and developer trust. Every dollar's job was strengthen the moat, reduce friction, increase global adoption. That mindset separates founders from operators. Operators chase income. Architects design machines. By the time Stripe crossed multi-billion valuation, Patrick wasn't working inside Stripe. Stripe was working for global commerce itself. Eventually, markets did what markets always do. They priced certainty. Stripe wasn't exciting anymore. It was inevitable. Investors weren't buying ideas. They were buying cash flow tied to the entire internet economy. When Stripe crossed a $10 billion valuation, it didn't feel magical. It felt engineered. From a student frustration to global money infrastructure. Not luck, architecture. Patrick Collison didn't get rich chasing money. He built something that forces money to behave properly. He didn't ask, how do I get paid? He asked, how do I design money movement? That's the difference between income and empire. If you understand cash flow, leverage, margins, and moats, you stop building startups and start building machines. If you enjoy calm documentaries about money, power, and business strategy, subscribe. New stories every week.